in the blue.
Yeah, thank you. My question is for Duncan. I'm Damien from Mid Dorset, North Pool Labour Party. I made a complaint 2.5 years ago about somebody who appeared on that flow chart. It's a Labour Party member who's had complaint after complaint against him, who's obviously working with the likes of Luke Akehurst and the party to deliver names to HQ. I managed to clear myself, but the party failed to redact this person's name when I did my subject access request. So, Naomi, you know about my case. Duncan, why can we not build a case against the Labour Party for all those people that can prove through their subject access requests that they were obviously operating an unfair system? Because the fact that that person on the screen is still a member, my evidence to the EHRC inquiry and to the Ford report, it's got tweets of him actively campaigning against the party. He promoted the ABC Anyone But Corbyn campaign. He's called for the party to be wrecked. So you can prove that it's a very biased system when people like him can campaign against the party. You can show the party all of his tweets and he remains a member. And yet he admits to working for McNichol's secret team.
Yes, it's I mean, I'd like to be able to say, you know, the easy thing, build a case, get and go after some of these people, but probably you're dealing with a situation where the processes involved aren't being operated fairly. So, I mean, that's a big part of your problem. They're shielded by a lot of people. They obviously have money that's coming in from other places as well to support them. And at the end of the day, if the disciplinary process is being run in a way that's biased and it's operated by those who are biased, then you know, no matter how many complaints you make against somebody, it's not going to be followed up. And that's clearly been the situation. That you know, I've come across lots of people who've made complaints about various things, and it never goes anywhere. The complaint. We have one in Southampton we made several years back when a right-wing member of was one of the local Labour First people, and he punched one of our left-wing delegates in the face at the AGM. And we had witnesses, we had cameras in the place as well, and we went to the police. The police didn't want to do anything because the party wouldn't complain, and the local right-wing leadership of the Southampton Association didn't want to do anything because they said, well, there's no evidence. And so, right apart from all the witnesses and the film that we've got of it, you know, and his bruises, you know. So that's what you're dealing with, is a lot of people in those positions who do operate in an entirely biased way and absolutely ignore the rules, no matter what. They just ignore it. Yeah, I mean, yes, yeah. Well, because it's an unincorporated association, everybody has a contract with everybody else, is how it works. There is no contract between Labour and members because there is no Labour. It doesn't exist as a legal personality, so it can't form contracts. The contracts are formed member to member, is how it works. Is it's one big contract between all members. So it means then if you want to take a claim that, you've got to go through contract law to do it. And the issue is, how can you demonstrate under the contract terms that there might be that bias? And so it's what you can build on, you know, as a legal justification. You might be able to show the court evidence that you might think, well, that's terrible, but what's the legal leg that you stand it on? And that's sometimes the difficulty, is finding those legal issues that you can stand something like that on. Sorry, not a great answer again. I'll leave. I'll get my coat.
Hi there, Chris. It's Damien from Dorset.
Oh, yes,
Dorset. Yeah, fine. So Chris knows all about my case. I mean, I feel like I'm going mad sometimes, but it is at some point in the future, might there be a case brought by people who have been hounded by the Labour Party, who have managed to prove that they're harangued by people who were identified in the leaked Labour report? People like Audrey White, I know it wasn't the Labour Party that smeared her, but that some people have had success in proving that they were the victim of a vicious campaign. As you know, my case is rather unique because the Labour Party accidentally leaked the name of the person who tried to smear me. It's the same person who claims to have done it to thousands of other people. He claimed recently that he was working for Ian McNichol's secret group, and he was exposed in the leaked Labour report for making spurious complaints. If that isn't the basis for a case which is absolutely winnable, I don't know what is. Lots of people know about my case. Peter Oborne's coming here. He got his sidekick, Richard Sanders, to speak to me about my case. I have got smoking gun evidence. I can name the person. I can give you all the emails that link this, and it proves absolutely there was a conspiracy, and we know that. I knew it before the leaked Labour report came out. Can we not get all these people who can prove they were smeared, backed up by the EHRC that said 70% of cases had been badly dealt with, whatever the Ford report's going to say, and the leaked Labour report? Why is that not the basis for a winnable case that blows this whole thing open and proves once and for all this was a campaign engineered at HQ?
Yes, I think the thing is about pursuing a legal strategy is I think we always have to be very, very strategic, because unfortunately, we can't lose sight of the fact that this is a bourgeois legal system, bourgeois judges, bourgeois courts. I say this as a law graduate, someone who wants to be a practicing lawyer. You know, the law is for me, it would be a job. It's not a site of, you know, Marxist struggle. I don't think it can be. So it has to be used strategically in order to benefit us when we can do that. And I think that you know, there's been lots of talk about if we could take one case. I think, you know, we'd have to assess what the legal arguments are for that. If we were to, for example, with respect to the leaked report, there are multiple issues there. There's issues primarily around data protection, other issues around libel potentially. And so it's kind of a complicated mess. It's like, and you have to decide which angle you're going to pursue it from. Just so you're aware, we did actually support, the Fighting Fund supported 8 Labour Party members alongside another group called Labour Activists for Justice to take the Labour Party to court recently in respect of these false allegations of anti-Semitism. And unfortunately, while I think the case was quite strong, the case was lost. It was a very rare loss for the Fighting Fund because, you know, at the end of the day, it turned on sort of the judicial, I think, the judicial philosophy of the judge, who sort of took the view that, you know, we're a court of law, we're not going to interfere in the affairs of political parties. So it's very, very difficult to pursue legal strategies. We have to be clear-eyed and sort of clear-minded about that, and only take legal cases when we have a very strong chance of success and we know exactly what end goal we're pursuing. So with respect to a big legal case, well, we've just had one. I'm not saying that potentially aren't other avenues, but we need to think very carefully about, you know, why we're taking that case, what we want to get at the end of it. Because at the end of the day, you're asking the court, a bourgeois court, to make certain declarations in your favor. They can't say, you know, they can't interfere to the extent that they would say the Labour Party has to do this, that, and the other. They could say, well, that's unlawful, or you know, the court declares that this is X, Y, and Z. But they can't really compel the party to do anything. So there are other sites of struggle we need to be engaging with in order to try to resolve those issues, I think.
It's a scandal. There's no doubt. There's no doubt that it's a scandal, comrade. And but I think, you know, sometimes, you know, the law doesn't sort of deliver what we want. That's not to say we can't take that, but as Amar said, we've got to be clear-eyed and strategic about it and take the best possible legal advice. And we did take the best possible legal advice, and we were assured. In fact, Amar was suggesting, if I can perhaps reveal a secret, that he was nervous about it, actually, because we'd forced certain concessions by the party, publishing the secret code by which they were judging people, for example. And when that was then published, Amar said, we need to take a rain check on this and maybe we should pull out. But we had a meeting, and you know, the lawyers were still fairly confident, and they said they thought that the result would be something of a curious egg, potentially.
Lots of things you can't predict.
No, it's very difficult, very difficult. That's the problem.